I just saw you. Did he disappear?
He might have logged off to log back on.
Okay, I'll come back. Jim Nixon. Okay. Kevin Morrison. Okay. Herc Ligdis. This is weird. Tony Cox.
Tony will be late.
Michelle Austin.
Candace, I'm on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Louise Pavlin.
I'm here.
Jeremy Kendrick.
I'm here.
Thank you. Darren Talent.
Derek emailed me. He won't be able to make it.
Okay. Mayor Williams. Oh, I don't need to call you.
Mayor Williams.
Yeah, Mayor Williams and David Smoke are also joining us. I see that Sue Stoll is here from the Tourism Travel Board. I'm not quite sure who the other call-in user is. Do we have a member of the press on this meeting? No?
I invited Alan and Gabby.
Okay.
We have 2, 3, and 4, and we don't know who they are. Be nice to know if they're, maybe Jim's on one of those lines and didn't unmute to say he's here.
I can unmute them real quick, and so that they can, because they may not realize how to unmute themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Could our call-in users please identify themselves?
David Purvis is here.
Okay, thank you.
He's calling user 4.
Okay.
Who are our other call-in users?
Call-in user 2. Who are you, please?
If you're on a phone, can you let us know that you're attending the meeting so we can get your names down, please?
If you don't, I am going to dismiss you from the meeting.
That's frustrating.
Did you get Alan Sloan, Farragut Press?
Alan Sloan is number 3.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any chance that's Gabby on call-in number user 2, our new shop Farragut, shopper news? Sorry.
Herc was going to join us. Herc, are you on the line? Not yet.
And Jim Nixon is still not on the line, so he's our secretary. Do we have somebody who can take the minutes?
I do the minutes after Trevor sends me the recording.
Okay.
No problem.
Well, you can figure out. Oh, they're gone. Okay.
I moved them to the lobby.
Okay. So I am calling the meeting to order at 8:36 a.m. this morning. Has everybody had an opportunity to look over the minutes from the last meeting? Do we have any comments, issues, concerns?
I'm going to move to approve.
Okay. This is going to be kind of hard for me to. Do I have a second?
David Purvis makes the second.
Okay. All in favor, I will run down the line. Candace Viox, aye. David Purvis,
Aye.
Kevin Morrison,
He's not here.
Tony Cox, not
He's
here
not.
yet. Michelle Austin,
Aye.
Louise Pavlin,
Aye.
Jeremy Kendrick,
Aye.
and Darren is not with us. So we have
The
approved the
mayor
minutes.
is, the mayor is a voting member.
Oh, he is voting? Okay. Mayor Williams?
Williams, aye.
Okay. Now, so the motion for approval of minutes have been, do I have to run through it again? We're good, right?
That
Okay.
should be it.
You're good.
Next, the financials. David, do you have anything to share about the financial statement that we received?
Yeah, I've reviewed the financial statements that were distributed by Steve the other day. We are $36,000 cash in the bank. No other significant changes in our financial position. So we look to be solid.
That's good news.
Look, all things considered, we look solid. Let's put it to you that way.
There you go. And the dogs, we lost $4,200.
On paper
That's
right
the same we
now.
lost.
Okay.
Steve, we have more revenue coming in from them?
No, there won't be any significant revenue coming in September financials, but there will be a few more expenses. We normally lose about 77,000 to 7,500, and there is some more advertising, and it would take us right about to that area again. I'll talk a little bit more about dogs, but once again, that's the loser events, but it's in the same ballpark as it has been for the past 4 years. So,
And we expect that. That's what we expect of that event. It's really more bringing attention, bringing people in, and bringing people to that particular shopping center. It's hard to calculate the benefits of that, what that brings to us as far as sales tax revenue, but it does generate excitement in that area.
yeah, everything is performing about where it has been. I'll comment some more on that when we get to our report.
Okay. So does anybody want to make a motion to approve the financials?
You're
So I just
approved.
got this is David Smoke. I just got a text from Jim Nixon that he's calling in, so he should be on your line now, hopefully.
We assume that Jim's calling user 5.
I would assume so. Jim, can you hear us?
Candace, it sounded like Michelle made a motion. I'm not sure. I thought I heard someone say a second.
Okay. So I'm going to run through the list of motion to approve the financials. Candace, aye. David Purvis.
Aye.
Nixon, are you with us now? Did you say aye?
Can you hear
I'm
us?
sorry. I didn't hear you, Jim.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. So Jim
Yes, I
Nixon,
vote yes.
thank you. And Tony Cox has also joined our meeting for the notes. Kevin Morrison's not here. Herc's not here. Tony Cox,
I can't vote. I didn't hear anything about the financials, so I'm going to abstain.
okay. Michelle Austin moved to bring it. Louise,
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick,
Yes.
Mayor Williams, Mayor Williams, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the approval of minutes have gone through, approval of financials have gone through. Now to the content committee with Tony Cox. Do you have any updates on our social media, Tony?
Hey, yeah, I do. So let me kind of get settled down here. For the first time in several meetings, we actually have some really big activity that's going on. And that makes sense because we actually have functions that are going on as well. So since we last met, our Shop Farragut Facebook page had 135 posts, 13,855 impressions, and 914 engagements. On the Taste of Farragut, we had 83 posts since we last met, 3,305 impressions, and 183 engagements there. For a total on Facebook, we had 17,160 impressions, 1,097 engagements, over 218 posts, which is more like what we were used to in previous years whenever we were hosting regular events and leading up to what we have coming up here in just a few weeks. Our Twitter engagements during September, I can't break Twitter down from the last time we met, so I can only do it by month. September so far, we've had 9 tweets that have had 1,385 impressions. In August, we had 53 tweets that had, in August, we had 53 tweets that had 3,355 impressions. And I'm going to jump into our contest information. We've never really dwelt a whole lot on our contest and the geography of where our entrants are coming from, and we've talked a little bit about the age range. Our median age right now for anyone who is entering a contest or signing up for the Shop Farragut, the Town Sampler program, is 53. And our mean age is 54. Realistically, that mirrors the demographics of 37934, 37922, and the areas just south of us in the Loudoun County area. 54% of our contest entries come from zip code 37934, 17% from 37932, 16% from 37922. There's the majority of it right there. Everything else, 2% from 37919, which is also an older zip code, 2% from 37772, which is a bit of a younger zip code, but still not as young as what you might find in the Hardin Valley area. And then 9% of our entries come from other places. We have reach as far as Blount County and Sevier County, but the majority of everything of people who are registering are coming in from 37934. Now, I know the idea of the Farragut Business Alliance has been to help extend that reach, to be able to draw more people in. But you have to remember, from a merchant or from a retail person, and even a service industry where you have, or service that people come walking in, your best and most or your best potential customers are the people who have the opportunity to walk into your business every day. To have that repeat customer that's coming from a local area is very, very desirable. And if you're reaching out past someone who's outside of a 5-mile radius and bringing those people in too, they're great customers. You want to have those, but they're don't have the convenience that the people who are closest into you have, or to be able to come in and shop and visit your place of business. So I'm not disappointed with the 54% of those contest entries coming from 37934. I just think that's the people who see the Town Sampler online, whether they see it at the Shop Farragut website because they're visiting there, or they're seeing it through our social media, are people who are familiar with the businesses and people who are more inclined to walk in those businesses' doors. So that's it.
Okay, thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions for Tony? Okay, moving on to the director's report with Steve. You need to unmute yourself, Steve.
If anyone can email Herculegis the link, I got a bounce back from the Southeast Bank does not like our GoDaddy email here. So
I'll email him.
thank
This
you.
is Louise. I'll email him.
He also said he was busy this morning, but I still don't see him on here yet. But health and wellness, I'm gonna report on that and these other past events, mainly because we haven't met for a while. Health and wellness, we ended up with approximately 26 vendors. It spread over the 2 rooms at the community center. I want to thank Sue Stool and all the folks over at the town. The venue was great for what we had planned to do, and it worked out amazingly well for setup and taking down. The biggest disappointment was actually in turnout. Over the 5 hours of the event, we probably did around 300 guests. Now, the people who did attend made a point of going to all the booths and go back and forth, but for our vendors, it was a disappointment. Most of them were very congenial and understood the conditions under this COVID program, also being in an indoor event. Early August, the weather was very nice outside. In fact, outside Kiki's Hawaiian Shaved Ice, and they did a brisk business with a few people that were there, but it was a great event and got my feet wet on how to use and be function with an event over at the community center. So overall, we did well, very well financially because there's not a lot of costs into using the facility, and we gained more booth fees, mainly because many of the initial sponsors, like the hospital and others, had to pull out because of the COVID situation, which opened up spaces for other vendors. We get back to normal, we can certainly do 40 or so in the space there, and it'll always be a super event. We are still holding January 8th, Saturday, January 8th, 2021, and hopefully we'll be able to have an indoor event at that time for the second Health and Wellness Expo. Doc Dogs, I'll some other time I can talk with board members about the fun I've had with the Tennessee ABC Commission, and we'll do that offline sometime. But other than that, a little untimely glitch. Everything came off very smoothly. Our vendors' numbers were down this year. Many of the non-pet aligned businesses did not participate or came in and pulled out for various reasons. So that was somewhat disappointed that I could not fill the whole space around the pool with that, but that did not seem to affect turnout. Over the 3 days, we probably did as many people, if not a few more than last year. Of course, we've added a few more hours of participation because of the number of registrations to compete. Every single wave of competition was maxed out, and so we added approximately 4 hours to the overall schedule. Between the 4 hours and even with the rain on Saturday, Sunday was beautiful. We're looking at over 6,000 people over those 3 days. I know Candace doubled her business from last year, and the vendors that were there were very pleased with the activity. Dogs themselves could not have been more thankful. The local club members, the national, everybody just was very complimentary of our event. Snappy Tomato did unbelievable business. And in fact, they helped cater a party that the Smoky Mountain Dogs people held for these out-of-town competitors on Saturday night. So they even sold even more pizza and salads that evening. The biggest thing that I had to do is probably edit out the closing business, trying to get photographs of all these beautiful dogs jumping in the water, and then Steinmart's closing sign in the background was kind of a disappointment. But I would recommend that the board consider us doing it again. It seems to be growing and well, and if we can get past this COVID stuff, I'm sure that we can fill up the space like it has been in the past. It's still a, I have to have major sponsors to really make it a break even to profitable event, but it certainly has done wonders, and Ricky's Pet Depot depends on it right now. So, which leads into the fall festival, unless anybody has any questions.
Same time next year? Is that what you would be looking at for Dogs?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be that second to third weekend in August. And of course, it won't be up against another event like it was this year. Okay.
As far as the dog folks are concerned, did they go ahead and or have they given you any type of comments as far as whether we would become like we were this year, maybe more
a wild card,
more of a premier? I'm sorry. Did the Dogs folks give you an idea that if we did it next year, we would be also a premier event for them?
Well, I think we have developed into that, and it really has to do with the registrations that they get. Whether or not we get labeled a wild card, I don't know, and that's within their organization. I can certainly push that, and I can report back. If you want me to begin the planning for next year, the sooner we do it, the sooner we get on all the calendars across the from all the Visit Knoxville to magazine and other calendar type things. So
did this year, after last year's event, did we send some type of marketing piece to the Dogs themselves to be able to use to present to people who would be registering? Or do they offer that type of service where they would be able to include, even if it's like a trifold brochure or something like that about our area?
Well, they will put up links and stuff on their website and on their Facebook event, and certainly we could do that too. There's no really paper. The reports they get back are all just number of registrations. They don't really care about my end of the deal. They care about the dogs.
Sure.
So anything generated for the vendors and everything else, I mean, that's our bailiwick. But they have links. They had links to our hotels. They had links to our date and time, and if we want to add some stuff like amenities and things, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they actually, not thinking about the vendors, but actually thinking about the registrants as well. If they send out a hard paper package, after they've had people who've registered for the event, if they send out some type of hard paper package to them in the mail that includes information, about the event itself.
I don't think that that's sophisticated, really. And I don't know. I mean, I could talk to the local club and see what kind of records they keep.
Okay.
Or if they have access to any information of the out of town people. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll shut
up. Well, please don't. If there's any questions, just anybody pipe up.
Yeah. This is Mayor. Do we need to discuss something as far as next year's program to make sure that you have that in your bag to go to them with?
Sure. I mean, if everyone feels that we should move ahead, I'd love to get on board right now with them and get it set. They love it that way too, because they'll put it up on their website and stuff quickly, and then we can negotiate how do I get that information to the out of town people too.
I see that someone joined our meeting. Call in user 6. Herc, is that you?
That is me.
Okay, if you could please mute, and everybody knows that call in user 6 is Herc. Okay, if there's nothing else about Dog Days, the Farragut Fall Festival, we want to discuss that.
Do we need a motion to carry on for Dog Days for next year?
Yeah, you can do a motion, or I can just take a date and then move forward. I mean, does anyone not want me to?
Mayor, was that a motion, Mayor?
I'd consider it a motion. Yes.
I'll second that motion.
What is the motion?
To go forward with Dog Days next year.
Okay.
Start the planning and get the formal invitation for Dog Days to come back next year.
Okay.
So I believe David Purvis left. I don't see him. Jim Nixon.
Yes, I vote for that.
Okay. Herc Ligdis.
So moved.
Tony Cox.
Yes.
Michelle Austin.
Yes.
Louise Pavlin.
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams made the motion. So we will be going forward with Dog Days next year.
Thank you. Okay, the Farragut Fall Festival, of course, came about as we tried to see how the Taste of Farragut would work under the Tennessee Pledge and COVID conditions. And as I moved quickly through some of the past participants of the Taste of Farragut, it seemed that this is not the year to have restaurants give away food. Staffing issues were a big consideration by some of the previous participants, and it didn't seem like I would get a critical mass to make it a fun event under the way that we had normally conducted the Taste of Farragut. And not knowing that the business community still needed and asked for some sort of event. And in fact, talking about the taste even at the Health and Wellness Expo. Some of those vendors were excited about getting involved again in another event. I just couldn't let a sleeping dog lie, so I kicked it a little bit. And with a few meetings with some board members and folks, we've come up with the idea of the Farragut Fall Festival. I had sponsor money already in place for our other events, which TDS, Southeast Bank, even Mini of Knoxville, well, all were committed to moving forward with this event. It's basically a combination of the Taste of Farragut and Music Fest, which we could not do this year. Open air event, Sunday, October 4th, from 3 to 8 p.m. I started with a list of vendors. I had a few food trucks from Dog Days willing to come back and supply food. Admiral Pub, can't wait to start selling some beer. And I sent out yesterday in yesterday's email a little packet that showed 43 vendors. We're now up to 49, and I've cut it off now. There's just, I can afford to lose a few and not have to worry about making this a fun event. We have 4 local bands playing on a stage that'll be set back in the large festival tent. Everything will be spaced out. I'll have half as many tables and chairs for the tent as we normally would do. We'll use up as much of the old Kroger parking lot as possible to spread everybody out and just have a good time. Obviously, the vendors were very excited. And then following our Facebook posts, I mean, it's just growing. People are passing it on, and you get those little Facebook blurbs saying so-and-so has shared you. We've been shared multiple times now. I think it's an event that the community is ready for and looking forward to. Anybody have any questions?
What was that thing that I saw about the license, about TABC that made a comment about something? What's that? Is that about the Farragut Fall Festival?
Yeah, once again, I applied for the liquor license so that we can serve alcohol at the event. And this time, rather than coming back with other issues, this time I had to produce a letter to tell them how many people I expect to attend the event. And so I copied you, Candace, on that letter just so you could see it as the alcohol provider. And rather than give them a round number on a free event, I told them I expected 100 to 200 people per hour through the event. And hopefully that'll be enough to satisfy COVID needs. Never had to do this for the alcohol licenses before, but we are definitely in new territory here.
Hey, Steve, quick question for you. There's a lot of names on the list from the businesses participating that I'm not familiar with. Are these all like relatively new businesses that are coming to town?
Some are, and some aren't. Some are basically home-based vendors. Some of those you might have seen over in Lenore City Arts. They've missed those festivals, and so there's a little community of vendors that do these arts festivals. So some of those are there, but there's businesses like Root Journey in that. I'm just finding out that that's a home-based business here in Farragut. And we also have picked up a few things like Knox Doe, who are chamber members, and they assume they're Farragut, or they want to believe that they're Farragut. And so it's a mix. I mean, there are definitely non-Farragut businesses there, but some of them are these home-based businesses, which I thought is kind of exciting to learn about. Any other questions? Most of the booth fees in that, we're talking in the $100 to $50 range. So this is going to be another event that if I get near break even, it'll be a miracle. So with the festival tent, the security, the porta potties, the fencing, the advertising, it's not as expensive as the Taste of Farragut, but a little more expensive than doing something at indoors. Okay. I'll move on to Shop Farragut for the holidays. The Bank of America it has come back aboard as the sponsor of the program, knowing that there won't be a countdown to light the park, which kind of officially kicks that off. But I have already their sponsorship is in the bank right now. I just was wired in this past week. We plan to do continue with our advertising program with the Farragut Press and do the coloring book or something similar to that around the second week in December. I've added advertising with West Knoxville Life magazine to the campaign. Did a contract with them since they include Farragut in that publication. Hopefully, I'll be able to put up all my signs. I did want to ask the town. I usually had done a sign at Campbell Station and Kingston Pike, but I don't know what the rules are going to be about putting it in a new park that's going to be on that corner. So I'm sure you don't want to right by those beautiful steps going up.
Steve, we'll work with you. We'll figure out a good spot.
Yeah. The campaign is really just set to go and repeat what we've done in the past. So I have nothing else to report until we get to new business. Anybody have any questions?
Okay, thank you, Steve, for your updates. If everybody is fine with the director's report, we'll move on to the town Farragut report with David Smoke, please.
Thanks, Candace. I think the last time we got together, I talked about just where we were at financially as a town. We were not really knowing exactly where we would be with COVID and businesses shutting down. Fortunately, now we've got about 4 or 5 months of tax revenue, sales tax revenue is what I'm referring to, under our belts. And so I'm going to give you a high-level charting system if you're watching at home. So usually we have revenues that are here. I projected revenues that were going to be down here, and our revenue stream has come in more around here. So we're not quite where we were at in previous fiscal years, but we're certainly better than what we projected in our budget. So that's been encouraging. It's been encouraging to see the businesses back open. I know they're not all doing as well as they have in years past, but just from a fiscal standpoint, instead of double-digit losses in sales tax revenue, we're seeing more in the single-digit losses. So that's at least been somewhat encouraging, and we hope to see that trend continue to get better over the next few months, hopefully. Marketing this summer, our tourism department, because frankly, we really couldn't market for tourism a whole lot with nobody traveling. we focus more on local businesses with the Doors Are Opening campaign, and that just got wrapped up here in the last few weeks. So we have now transitioned, starting September 1, back to tourism, back to promoting things in town. We have seen, I wish Darren was on the phone, but we have seen the number of hotel stays getting better since April. So that's been encouraging. It seems like in the general area of Knoxville, we've seen a better increase in that than some of the other spots in and around Knoxville. So that's been good. But we are focusing on tourism. And actually, Sue and her staff have been working on a grant. We got notice from the state of Tennessee that they were giving tourism grants to all the different DMOs around the state, to all the counties. So that's 95 counties. They were giving direct money to all those counties, but they singled out a couple of local cities in the state, us and Collierville, to also get additional funds from that. So we're working with Visit Knoxville and the state of Tennessee. We have to use the money on COVID-related marketing and events and things like that we do, and it has to be spent by the end of the year. So it's a pretty quick time frame to work on that. But Sue and her staff have been working on getting kind of the grant proposal in place and trying to see what we can do. But that's been encouraging. And we'll have to figure out the next couple of weeks whether or not we can get. It's about $78,000 that they have allocated. Not that we'll get all of that money or not, but we're working with Visit Knoxville on a bigger marketing campaign throughout the whole county that they would include Farragut as part of too. Steve mentioned a little while ago about Light the Park. Obviously, we're not going to have the big event that we normally do. We just can't, with all the 1,000+ people that come out to the park, be able to social distance when we light the park up. But we certainly will have lights, and we're trying to expand those to kind of go further out and get more people to check them out when they're off the highway, off the interstate, come into town, notice where they're at. So we're going to do several things up and down Kimball Station Road to try to get people's attention, and then be able to come down into the park, and maybe even all the way down to Kingston Pike, with our new park there on the corner. So we're having a lot of things we're looking at right now, and Bud and his crew in Public Works they have a lot of work to do in the next couple of months to make all that happen. But we're excited about it. Bud may not be excited about it, but I'm certainly excited about it. So it'll be great. Also, if y'all don't know, from the FBA board, our tourism committee has a new chairman, and that would be Candace Viak. So Candace, congratulations on pulling double duty with the FBA board and the tourism committee.
That was funny because my husband said to me, "Are you serious? You did another board?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll run for office one day when Mayor Williams is done."
Do you ever sleep, Candace? Do you sleep at all? Because I want to know how that works.
Yeah, not really. I was laughing this morning. I obviously had to get up early, come into the restaurant, and then I have a online, very first ever Zoom wine tasting with like 5,000 people across the country at 8:30 tonight. So, yeah, full day.
Wow. Good for you.
Well, we really appreciate you, Candace. Thank you you're a very committed member of our community, and we greatly benefit from your passion and your apparent need for no sleep.
And I love our community. You guys know that. Thank you so much.
Well, I did want to tell you, tonight we have our Municipal Planning Commission meets. One of the items on their agenda is to talk about our comprehensive land use plan. We've been working through the land use plan, making modifications and updates to various parts of town for about 1.5 years or 2 years now. And so the area that we're focusing on now is the mixed use town center area, which is basically the 1 mile square radius around town hall, if you think about it that way. There's some text amendments that they're talking through tonight. One of them, the main discussion that we've had with the commission over the last month or two has been how to kind of marry the residential with the commercial aspect of mixed use. How do you make sure you have the right kind of fit and the right number that you need to have that walkability without having too much density in one spot. So that's part of the discussion they're going to have tonight. And if the Planning Commission approves that, then it would move on to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for their ordinance amendments. and review during the month of October, and then be put into place. So we're working through that because we also have, and I think most of you know, we have a concept plan for the Biddle property, and I'm going to try to go high tech and share my screen because I don't know if every one of you have seen this before or not. If I can grab it here. Give me just a second. Do share. Format. Here we go. All right. Can y'all see that? I hope. I'll try to get it lined up here.
It's a blank screen right now.
Can you not see it?
Yep.
There it is.
Okay. If I can blow that up a little bit, I'll try. I know it's a little bit small possibly on your screen. There we go. Well, so this is the concept plan for the town center area. You can see my hand here, my little hand. The Kingston Pike is over here on the left side of your screen. Kroger, the current Kroger, would be to the south end of the screen, and then Campbell Station Road would be on this side. The Planning Commission approved this concept plan at the last meeting last month. What you have is a kind of a horizontal mixed use approach where you have redevelopment of the commercial area. If you think about this, this is where the old Kroger facility is right now in this general area. And then you would have a mixture of shops lining the street, coming down to a large, about a half-acre grass area here. And then it would transition into the residential component of the project through here with a trail system that runs along the backside. The creek runs right through here. So there'd be a lot of green space, open space through here, as well as a pond and possible some green space in this area for future development as well. We've also looked at doing some angled parking here along Brookline. So it's going to give it a different look and feel as you drive into Brookline from Campbell Station. It would hopefully slow motorists down as they're coming into this area. So you feel more like, hey, this is a walkable community. This is somewhere, you know, I need to pay attention to what I'm doing when I'm driving as you get into this development. So that's the general concept. Now they have a lot of work to do to actually make this concept work. And I'll show you if I can now unshare for just a second. I'm going to reshare a different screen, which should show you, yeah, hopefully. Can you see a picture of a building now? Yep.
Yes, you see the picture of the building.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the concept of just the buildings themselves. I don't know if you've, if any of you have had a chance to see these yet, but again, these are conceptual. This is the idea of going from the commercial on the left to the residential on the right. You've got the green lawn area there. That would be a public park for the facility. That's looking somewhat to the north. Think about Farragut High School being kind of just beyond that parking lot and where the trees are there to the north of the screen. Again, that's facing north. This gives a better shot of what the great lawn area would look like there. And then kind of a higher level view of it. And then the way you're looking, that would be oriented toward where Kroger is currently, if you were to go straight out the end of that green space and drive straight forward. So that's just some of the visual representations that have been shown so far. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do to get that on paper and get that to where the board could actually approve or vote on anything. But that just gives you an idea of what the look and feel of the project is at this point. All right. So,
Hey, David, I have a question for you.
yes, ma'am.
After seeing that and presenting that, what do you think? Are you getting positive response from Farragut community and the board members? They're excited about this, or are you getting any pushback?
Well, I think anytime you have a project that comes forward, you're going to have people that are for and against it. So it's just really a matter of, does it fit our land use plan? Does it fit our comprehensive plan? Does it fit the goals and the vision that the town have? So those are all questions that the Planning Commission, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen are going to have to answer here in the next few months as we continue to get really more detailed information from the developer. Certainly from a mixed use standpoint, it's not vertical mixed use. That's a lot of the question, a lot of the things that we tried to work on over the years. As I have gone around the country talking to developers about doing that here in Farragut, it's been a lot of no's. It's been a lot of, that doesn't really work in suburban communities. It's difficult to finance. It's difficult to find everyone that can do it right and do it well. There's easier places that you can go, frankly, from a development standpoint, go and make the project work that aren't as difficult when it comes to just the demographics, all the things that go into a project. So what they have all suggested and what they said would still be a great concept is a horizontal approach to it, which is just having the uses very close together, but just not on top of each other. And so that's what this is. It's a little different approach, but it still has the same feel to it, especially if you want the walkability, you want the pedestrian access, and you want the density to be able to support the businesses in and around there. I think the current concept shows about 63,000 square feet of commercial. So it's actually less than what the current old Kroger building is now when it comes to commercial standpoint, just slightly under that. So that's what we're hearing. I'm sure we'll hear more from the community as we continue to have discussions on it. But that's what these public meetings are all for, is to get feedback and things like that. We've done several studies over the years on mixed use town centers, and do people want to see mixed use in Farragut? Is it something that's a priority for them? And every time we've done a survey, and we've done 3 of them since I've been here, it's always been one of the top things on people's lists, is they'd like to have a unique sense of feel. They'd like to have a walkable community. They like to have a mix of uses. So, all those boxes are getting checked here, just not the vertical component, which is what we, ultimately would love to see. And we still have that on the books in our land use plan. But this project does not have that vertical component.
Candace, I'd love to add a little bit to that. There is I'm not sure if you're on Nextdoor. I just recently deactivated my account because it was just kind of stealing my peace. But I've gotten a lot of positive private emails. They will not venture onto social media. There's some people that are vocally against this. I don't think that they've read the land use plan. I don't think they understand what the alternative is. There will be a built environment on the Biddle property. If we don't plan for it, the natural suburban development would be another big box with another long strip mall to support it, which to me, that would, in the numbers that I've calculated, would bring much more traffic to the area than what is currently proposed. But it's not walkable. It's ubiquitous suburban commercial design. Kingston Pike would continue to be a road that just goes straight through. People are passing through. What we're trying to achieve is a walkable community. We've been working on walkable community for at least 2 decades, when we started requiring sidewalks in neighborhoods and sidewalks along the frontage trails on the frontage of our collector and arterials. So this is just in addition to that walkable community that we've been trying to establish for a very long time, certainly long before I lived here. The idea that we would surrender to people that aren't, that really should read the land use plan and understand that the alternative is just unconscionable. On top of that, you put a big box in there. Big boxes tend to have a lifespan of about 15, 20 years. in 15 or 20 years, we would potentially leave a future generation with another empty big box sitting where this current big box is. And we all know what that has done to our community as far as making it feel like it was dying or that we were on the decline. So the last thing we need to do is invite more big boxes into the heart of our town. So I have been hearing some positive privately. We have a pretty vocal group that has disseminated a flyer. I think you live in Concord Hills, correct?
Yes, I do. That's why I was asking, because I got a thing in the mail about, I don't know, a group of people are yelling about it. So that's why I was asking.
Well, that's a modus operandi of one particular person, and they tend to do this. They did this with 5G and Sweetbriar and filled it up with a lot of scare tactics and misinformation. And so I've been sending out an email. When people actually email me, I send them out. I have a pretty long explanatory document that I've kind of put together, and whatever their concerns are, I kind of cut and paste and put out to them. So I've got 2 more emails to respond to today. I'm hoping that people do some research, because our town is aging, and for us to remain relevant, we do not need to double down on classic failed suburban sprawl design, car-centric design. We need to embrace that we've created this walkable infrastructure, and embrace that and figure out how to make it work with our community, what is true to our community. And I think we have a good jumping off point here. I think we really need to take a hard look. If this is where we're going to have our town center, we better take a long, hard look of what our comprehensive land use map says for the rest of this open space that still remain to be developed, because there will be a built infrastructure in the heart of our community. It's not zoned for agricultural. It's zoned for a built environment. So we still have a lot of work to do. This project still has a lot of work to do. They got to deal with stormwater. It's a work in process. Now the dogs bark, so I'm muting myself.
So once this gets going farther along, David and Mayor Williams, is it something that you're going to do a social campaign to get some more support in the community with, like Louise was talking about with the emails, but being able to do more, like, I don't want to say commercial necessarily, but just online video, or maybe Mayor Williams coming back to the restaurant and doing a forum where people can come in the community? Because what I'm noticing here, and I've shared it again, and I shared it at the Visit Farragut meeting on Tuesday, the number of people moving into Farragut from across the country are insane. And I think that's where Tony was talking about, where the uptick, because I tell people all the time when they come in the restaurant, they're not in Knoxville, they're in the town of Farragut. And a lot of people are like, yeah, but what is that? And so I've been directing them to our Shop Farragut and our town website and things like that. And they're sitting at the bar and they're looking at our community, but really driving home that it is a walkable community, that we do have development coming in. I know the roads suck, and I know that's a Knox County, whatever, their problem. But I just think that if more people knew about how beautiful and eclectic and, I don't know, quaint our town is. And then I hear the other side, we don't want those people. We don't want people from California moving here. We don't want them voting here. So I definitely hear both sides of the coin.
Well, you know, Candace, I've been doing this now for 20 years, and it's inevitably what you hear is people, just like you mentioned, that are moving in from outside because they love the community. They love, the area. They love what it's all about. And then you have the flip side of everybody that has moved here doesn't want anybody else to move here because they moved here for what it was like when they moved here, right? So that's the dichotomy that we have to deal with sometimes in public service and trying to have that mix. That's why we have land use plans. That's why we have plans to figure out what we're going to grow into and be in the future. And certainly there's still some development left to go. Most of it is single family housing is what we have left to go. So that will add, people in and around our community for years and years to come. So anyway, that's we certainly can continue working on that. We market ourselves. We have a pretty strong social media campaign, and use that as much as we possibly can to reach our community. But this is one of those projects that we'll have to take it under advisement as it comes along. And as we see, it would certainly change the look and feel of our downtown area, no doubt about it. So I think the board's going to have to decide if that's what they want to see for our future. That's really what it comes down to. Just a couple other comments, and I'll let you guys go. The Admiral's Corner, which is the project there on the corner of Campbell Station and Kingston Pike, that's going to be the northeast corner of the intersection. That's coming along. They're asking for a brew pub license because they're going to have they're actually going to be brewing their own beer in that location. So that's going to go before the beer board next week. But they are working hard. I would anticipate sometime this late fall that they will be open and operational. So that's exciting and encouraging. And then across the street, we've got our Campbell Station Park that we've been working on now for a few months. And we hope that sometime in October, that'll be done as well. And we'll be able to start utilizing that park too. So that'll give us two great assets on that corner, along with the new Starbucks facility on the other side, and that project to really start shaping the future look and feel of our downtown Farragut area. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. If not, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David. We appreciate you. So on to this new business, the public chapter 791 discussion. Steve? Yes, please talk about that.
You folks should have all gotten a little attachment earlier this week. And this comes from the state of Tennessee. And I guess there's some new laws going into effect. And one Senate Bill 1961, House Bill 63, which makes it possible to get grants for economic development groups, public utilities. And I don't know if the town's been looking at that, or it seems that Shop Farragut would be eligible for some kind of funding through this program. And I don't know if anybody has looked into this, or if we should form a little group to take a look at it. So I hope you all received it, and I'm I'm just talking to the air here. But
Louise, do you have any comments, or have you had any opportunity to look at it?
I read it, and I'm not quite sure. It says entities seeking financial assistance must also provide information on how those funds will serve the utility and its customers. I'm struggling to understand exactly what that means with regard to what we try to do. So, Steve, do you have any insight as to what that means?
If I did a energy expo or trade, or how and that could get funding from from the utilities, I would think. Maybe it opens a doorway for the water that goes into the pool for dock dogs, and get some additional funding to help make dock dogs. Since the public utility is furnishing all of that, there might be some funds that could be attached to that. I think this law is.
It's only provides for municipal natural gas utility systems to make appropriations.
Okay,
so I assume that's KUB for us.
If we did KUB sponsored event, or something that might open a door for energy or home, a home show type thing where you're talking about new sources of energy or
let me ask
savings.
David, do you have any thoughts on this? Sorry.
I know in the state of Tennessee, for instance, the town, whenever we grant money to other entities, we have to publish those things in our budget, and then they have to request it through a public process. And it sounds to me, not knowing a whole lot about this bill, sounds to me like there was just a gap that didn't allow natural gas municipalities or companies to provide any kind of grant funding to local chambers, for instance. So I have a feeling that's what it's coming down to. So it'd be more of like if you wanted to request funds like you do now, Steve, I think from LCUB and FUD. They both have been sponsors of various events over the years. So I think it would just allow them the opportunity to then give you funding if there was something that would be appropriate for them to patch into.
So it's more of a direct thing with the utility.
I think if you were to call up KUB and say, hey, or request funds of some kind, make a pitch to them, then this would give them the opportunity to be able to provide funding to you if they felt that was appropriate.
Okay, well, saw this, and I just want to bring it up because it's just another revenue stream for the Shop Farragut program that has so few revenue streams. So the other thing I wanted to mention and tag on to David's report is that tonight at the Municipal Planning Commission meeting, they'll also be talking about the grand opening sign. This would be a change to the new sign ordinance. I opened my big mouth and said that Shop Farragut would be delighted to help with the workings of what has been a town function in supplying a grand opening sign for new businesses. It just seemed to me that this would give the Farragut Business Alliance an opportunity to meet the new businesses, help the town, and make a workable program to welcome these new businesses to town and take a little work off of their shoulders of moving a sign around town from business to business when they open up and have grand opening ceremonies. So they're going to be talking about that tonight, and it's something I think would be a good thing for everybody involved. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. All right. And then finally, I guess this week's newspaper should have the winner of the town sampler. I continue to get a few donations, but I also have been going to our local businesses and purchasing $25 gift cards as a form of a way of helping support these businesses during COVID now. And that seems to be really working well in that the businesses are happy to see my face and also to see that I'm spending some money in their store. So I've been limiting the town sampler here to about $200 a month. But the contest keeps going and going, and it's doing well. So that's my last two items.
Okay, thank you everybody for joining the meeting. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns for anybody that's on the call right now?
Steve, are you still looking for volunteers for the Farragut Fall Festival? Because I know the National Honor Society is looking for outside volunteer opportunities, Farragut High School.
I can have a few volunteers, mainly to be helping get the vendors placed, because we do have a large number of vendors. It'll be a short window of time to set up. I don't need certainly as many as the Taste of Farragut. And the cleanup, I don't see as big a deal this year in that we only have 7 food and beverage vendors. So it's a little different, but I certainly welcome anybody. If there's a small group, those students want to get a hold of me, that'd be great.
All right, I'll reach out to them.
Okay, is there anything else from anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion is accepted. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.